So the way I normally do this is I allow people to get a chance to just talk a little bit about themselves, about who they are, a little bit of their background history, what they do, their profession, and because the podcast that I've created is a little bit of star UFO type things and spirituality, I kind of allow anyone to go wherever they wish to, within reason, of course. And most people sort of understand the things they can share, what depth they can go with that, and then, how far they cannot go. But because I know who you are, and I know pretty much most of your story, I know that I can trust that you will give us only what we need. So, if you'd like to start by just giving us an idea of who you are, and maybe start perhaps in the beginning,
Okay.
as far back as you wish to go, basically, on how you sort of woke up really on your journey. What is it about you that you realize was very different than maybe some of those around you, perhaps?
Yes, of course. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my warmest greetings to you. I hope you're all doing really well. And it's an honor and pleasure to be with you. Well, the beginning, well, that's a long way back with the journey of the soul. Nature of my soul, I'm a being of the primordial divine void. The divine void is source self-disclosing. It's the first exhalation of source where creation is about to begin. The void is a domain of infinite possibility and infinite energy. And then from that infinity, one certain manifestation is chosen, it is given energy. Vibration begins in the form of sound. Then vibration becomes faster. We have divine light. And then dimensions come into being and into existence. So that's the birthplace of my soul. Aspect in this universe, first form I took was the black dragon. I do have membership amongst many different species. My most beloved is humanity. So the soul form is the Vajra-Kilaya. At this time, I am a devotee of the Vajrayana Buddhist methodology. It is very effective. There are many ways to climb a mountain and reach the peak. There's no better or worse one. It's a personal preference. We have to do our due diligence and find a methodology that works for us. For me, it seems that this practice of the Vajra-Kilaya Tantra, which is a modality of repetition of mantras, using mudras or hand seals, and then also mandalas, which are the embodiment of the energy. This worked really well for me. But now coming into this incarnation, I was born in 1982 in Iran. This was while the longest war of the 20th century between Iran and Iraq, at that time under Saddam Hussein, was waging.
Oh gosh, okay.
It was a very bitter war.
That.
Yeah.
I remember that so well, mainly because that was when I actually left my country to come to here. Was exactly when that had just begun. Yeah, I remember the horror.
Very, very brutal war. They used chemical weapons, hadn't been used since World War I. And so I was in the fetal stage. My mom, an Irish Catholic lady working in Iran as a head nurse, interestingly, she married my dad and she was living in Iran. So they brought in all these injured soldiers. And so then the head of the hospital said, it's going to kill the baby. So she stopped working. While I was in there,
just the stress, you think? The stress of the environment that's around her?
The chemical weapons.
The chemicals themselves, right.
People, they were contagious, even although they were off the battlefield. And so it's not just the stress, it's the energy also. I'm in there swimming in the embryonic fluid. I was aware of all of it.
Yeah. Wow.
I remember being a fetus. I remember birth. I remember my early childhood, being 3 months old, 6 months old. That's kind of unusual.
It is, yeah.
So the energy I was born into was heavy. I see this as a blessing. But I was not born into the light, into the darkest part of the world at that time. And so all this heaviness, it was a push for me to discover the truth of myself. I learned how to leave my body, do astral projection at the age 4.
Wow, okay.
And so very, very early on, this spiritual path started. The remembering begun. And from my earliest memories, I remember being visited by elementals of all kinds. Air elementals were my favorite. Little
And that
fairies,
was
they would sit.
was that in your waking state as well as
When I
when you were
when I would
jumping
wake up
out?
in the morning, opening up my eyes, there was a window with a windowsill in front of it, and they're all sitting nicely in a row. I could see the outlay, the wings, and they looked like a little, probably 3-4-year-old human with the sweetest giggle. And I would go, hey, I don't know what's going on.
They
And
are
they'd all
gigglers.
burst into laughter.
Yeah.
So this whole world of magic and communication with different beings started really, really early on. But then I joined elementary school, and teachers and my family said, nah, it can't be real. Forget about it. And so it went to sleep for a while.
Okay. Was there any religious indoctrination around that at that time as well? Did you?
Oh, very, very heavy.
Yeah.
Iran is a Shia Muslim country. So they're different from the main body of Islam. Shia Islam is a mix between mainstream Islam and the Zoroastrian tradition, the Persian religion.
Persian, yep.
The Zoroastrian religion is the oldest religion surviving, going back to the end of the last ice age. So easily 10,000 years of history, all documented, by the way.
Wow.
So it gave rise to the Hindu culture, the Buddhist culture, and also the Abrahamic culture. So it's its own thing, deeply entrenched in ancient methods of mysticism, like Sufism, like the traditions of Tibet and India. So growing up, I became a devout Shia Muslim. It was what was happening around me, and I dove into it. It's interesting that every single faith and religion has an element of truth. Even now, at this age, I still go back to some of these teachings and I find their sublime beauty, mostly in the form of discipline and self-mastery and devotion and self-control, all that kind of good stuff. That's a good kind of thing to have, no matter what you choose to do in life.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that.
So the whole magical aspect, spiritual aspect, came back at the age of 18 with a vengeance, like a volcano that was building up pressure. It suddenly went boom. Remote viewing came online. I could see inside buildings I'd never gone into, and then I check it out, and I actually was a bit frightened. Oh my goodness, what's all this stuff? And it really reached a peak when I entered university out of school. So as a school kid, as a student, you just you follow what you are told. You do what you're told, and I was really good at studying all subjects. I was in the top 0.1% of students in Iran. They have these programs where they take tests from the entire population. I was in the top 0.01% of students getting into university. I've got an IQ of 186. And so I was
got good recall memory, is obviously. That's because some people are in that percentage. They have a very good photographic recall memory. They can hold memory really well. Is that
So
what you
I
have?
was
Or?
also dedicated. So for
Okay.
getting into university, I read 35 books 17 times round.
Holy
So
cow.
studying 16 to 18 hours every day. So I really was
Yep.
on point.
Yep.
But when I entered university, so I did a first degree in Iran in power engineering,
Yep.
generating electricity, power plants, transmission lines, that kind of field. And I saw society, and I discovered that all that beautiful doctrine, the faith that I had followed so devotedly, it was all nonsense. It's hypocrisy. It's really
Okay.
a means to power, and it's a method of
Yeah.
control. That
Okay.
was a massive shock.
Yeah, that would have
And
been quite
so,
heartbreaking to even sense that, wouldn't it, in the
yeah,
beginning?
and for
Yeah.
someone so
Quite
young,
shattering.
when we're in our
Mm.
late teens, we don't really have the maturity to deal with heaviness in the way we learn
No.
later on, partly
Yeah.
because of
Or
that
you
heaviness.
take things so much to heart, right? Like you're in your emotional heart at that time, so you take
Yeah,
everything gospelly to the
dumb,
heart. So
dumb.
yeah,
Yeah, it
it'd be
hits
quite a
hard.
shock. It does, yeah.
So then I started expanding in every direction in terms of spiritual and religious knowledge. So my life is dedicated to two main areas. One is science, and one is spirituality. I
Okay.
continued on the path of academia right up to the present day. So all in all, I got 7 academic degrees in when I finished power engineering. I moved to the UK, did a degree in optoelectronics and communication systems,
Mm-hmm.
fiber optics, and telecoms. Then I did a degree in satellite communication, antenna design, electromagnetics.
Okay.
Moved on then to biomedical engineering, brain computer interfaces, which
Wow,
is
okay.
taking readings from the surface of the scalp. It's non
Yep.
invasive. It's
Yep.
a rehabilitation technology. So people that have spinal cord injuries that
Mm-hmm.
can't move,
Yep.
they'll be able to
I've
move
seen
the
some of that.
wheelchair with their
Mm.
thoughts. My
Yep,
project
that's
was
right.
linguistic. So
Okay.
you think of left, and then the computer mouse moves left. So you can play a nice little
Wow.
game with just thinking
Yep.
about words left, right, back, and forth.
Yep.
So the methods that are applied in telecoms, they work really well with biological signals, specifically
Okay.
signals from the brain. That was a
Yeah.
difficult PhD. I had to learn about neurology, about linguistics, about psychology, and
Wow.
then apply telecoms methods and mathematics to biological systems. So that worked out really nicely at the end. We tested this on 37 people, and it was published. I think
Wow.
I've got about 600 citations on that paper. So my PhD thesis is also available online.
And
Moving
with
from
that sort of thing, for people that may not understand that, can you simplify it? Is that the synapses, the neurological mind itself, actually being able to read outside of itself in a way, a bit like what we
um,
do, perhaps, do you
well,
think? Or is it different again?
it's about understanding what is happening, where it is
Mm-hmm.
happening, and when it is
Yeah.
happening in the brain. So,
Okay. Okay.
with certain functions in the brain, like linguistics, they've been studied
Mm-hmm.
since the 19th century. There are two centers in the mostly in the left hemisphere called the Wernicke and the Broca area, where
Mm-hmm.
different parts of the brain, like the auditory processing on the temporal lobes, meet visual processing. They have connection to the motor side, which gives us the ability to articulate and speak. So these are called
Okay.
gyruses or gyri. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so superior temporal gyrus, that would be one of the locations, the Broca area. These are well known. They have been well known because certain injuries to that part of the brain causes aphasia. So people lose the ability to speak.
Okay.
So these have been
Yeah.
studied on and on. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the so the focus is on that location of the surface of the head. A lot of mathematics goes into understanding where the signal is coming from. Electrical signals coming to the surface get dampened. So, for example, the blinking of an eye is 1,000 times more powerful electrically than that little signal that comes from the brain. So you need to clean up the signal. Lots of methods go into it, like the surface Laplacian, which is source estimation. They use the same method on the radar signals that they focused underneath the pyramids. Source estimation. So discovering all those structures from a jumble of noisy signals, you find the source, you have source estimation, and you get a clear image. So I've used the same mathematics applied to the human brain. It's actually very elegant, but it's non-trivial. You need a master's in mathematics or engineering just to understand what's happening. But when applied correctly, the results are brilliant. My motivation for going into this field was understanding the role of the brain in all this spiritual stuff. The brain definitely comes in. So understanding neurology. So the specific title of that degree is neural engineering. It's got nothing to do with mind control. Many people of lesser understanding may go towards that, but no, it's about reading what the brain is sending out so that no disability is disabling. Even if it happens that you lose the ability to speak, if the brain is working, you should still have a fulfilling life. So that is the motivation for this.
So is that electrical projection? Could you?
It's EEG, electroencephalogram. So there are EEG caps. Earlier versions, you had to put on a cap, an elastic cap, and inject into it, and attach electrodes.
I've seen that.
During my time working on this, dry electrodes came, meaning you just wear it like a hat, and it works really, really well. So technology is moving fast with good, clear signal. And there's a limitation to that. So right now in this field, the bottleneck isn't the mathematics or the algorithms or the processing power. It's getting clean information from the brain. So we've got a question. And so Elaine says, I had to work with some of this after my fall, brain training. Moving things on a screen with the brain and thoughts this was quite good at. She was good at it, and she surprised the doctors. Well, see, that's really amazing. Imagine soldiers that lose limbs, especially hands. So these are really important organs. You can learn how to play the piano with this artificial hand once again. So the brain learns from the machine learns from the brain. You have a full loop going on, and the loss of a hand is no longer something that will be catastrophic.
That's right.
A lot of the stuff.
Can that come under the section of sentient AI
No.
a little bit, as in human, or is that a different thing again?
No.
Okay.
Another thing that is unfortunately rampant in the spiritual community is a lot of nonsense about sentient AI. Once you really go into it and look at what is happening, these devices, although they can do impressive things, are nowhere near the sophistication of the brain. We're millions of years away from actually mimicking anything approaching the human brain. So much
there seems
fear.
To be a great fear around it. There's huge fear around AI.
You see, the people that do this have a great karmic debts to pay. They're causing fear in the community, and there's no justification for it. We can talk about that in more detail when we bring the spiritual aspect. But technologically, no. The brain is the result of billions of years of evolution and engineering also. So the human being is really sophisticated. No technology matches the human. So we want to just use tools to compensate for any damage to the physical body. And so that's the field of brain-computer interfaces. mostly for
Okay.
people who have locked-in syndrome or on a wheelchair or for
Yeah.
some reason can't speak. It's
Yeah.
too expensive also. And so
Yeah.
after that, I moved into artificial intelligence,
Okay.
which is, again, a continuation of machine learning that I did for my PhD. I worked as an advisor for the British government, advising companies and corporations. All of it is basically intellectual property, so I didn't publish any of it. Ultimately, I left this area because what I discovered and observed was that artificial intelligence was used by the big cats to sell garbage to people.
Okay.
And so
Well,
you
not
see this
surprised.
now in
Yeah.
most social media with these quote unquote intelligent ads. God help you if you look for a pair of
Oh,
shoes, your feet is
getting
going to be
ridiculous.
flooded with all these. So that's the area that I really didn't want to go into.
No, I
Same
understand.
kind of thing happened during my master's, where I designed an antenna, very small patch antenna, with a coplanar waveguide feed network. So it's a printed circuit, very, very slim, very capable. And it found its way into a military drone. I said, nope.
Gosh.
I washed my hands and I moved out of that area, thinking that, okay,
Yeah.
biomedical sciences is cleaner, which is true.
It
The
is, yeah.
AI field, it's already mature. So most of the development happens in the militaries of the world. They have the money and the resources to fund it.
Correct.
What was reaching academia was second-hand, third-hand technology that was already mature. And so they gave us the whole package. Oh, go figure out how to use it in the corporate level, which is still not quite savory. The good news is what's going to happen probably starting right now is that the general public will get access to this technology after being typical humans, meaning that usually we start using things for negative purposes. The military uses it to find more efficient ways so we can kill each other better. The corporations use things so that they can make more money. And then humans use it for all kinds of shenanigans, and then we start using it finally for good stuff. So that's going to bring about the next industrial revolution. Some, let's say, cacao farmer in Brazil who has the best cacao, and then someone like me in the UK who wants to benefit from the powerful ceremonial and spiritual purposes. We two are linked by AI. Middleman is cut out. I'm quite happy to pay the fair price so the Brazilian farmer can feed his family for 6 months and I get the best stuff. And so there we go. That's what's going to happen. So it's going to lead to great abundance for humanity. This is the reality of it as somebody who has spent about 15 years of dedicated, cutting edge academic work in artificial intelligence. That is the truth.
Well, that's
So
why I asked you to come on, because I knew if there's anybody that could go into all the subjects that people are talking about that are coming through fear-based reality,
it is
if there's
terrible.
anybody that I could ask truth to be known on both sides, it would be you. Yeah.
So looking at what humanity has, I must emphasize this at this point, that humanity is not the only game in town. The cosmos is teeming with life. There are many ancient beings with mature technology, some of them advanced enough to survive the death of an individual universe. They just migrate, they never go extinct. So they also use AI. But what humanity has right now, think of it as a tool for searching and optimization, where a human being would get bored and go crazy if you had to do, say, 100,000 searches. It's out of capacity. We can't focus for that long. A computer program can do this, give a score to every one of the options, and then compare them. The option with the best score is chosen as optimal action. So it can suggest things. It can also observe the behavior of an expert, like in a self-driving car. Instead of mimicking what the driver does, it tries to figure out what the driver's aiming to do. So that would be inverse reinforcement learning. And all in all, there are about 15 algorithms that optimize. So they go through a million different options, they find the optimal choice, and then from that branch, they go into further possible choices. And so they may present a sequence of suggestions that are likely to be really good.
Yeah.
And so if we look at AI, it is just like any other tool. A hammer can be used to construct a house, or it can be used to smash somebody's head in. Nuclear energy can be used to build a bomb and wipe out an entire city, or it can be used to give us decades of clean energy.
Correct.
Again, AI can be used to search and destroy and kill a specific person in a population, or it can be used to link that farmer in Brazil to a consumer in North America or in Europe. You see, these technologies are just assistive tools. And so you shouldn't assign any sort of morality to them. That is non-existent. The morality applies to the human that is wielding it.
Correct.
So lots of stuff happens.
Hence the result itself, Hence the result itself. It depends on the human using.
Of course.
That's right.
And so something like ChatGPT, which is natural language processing, I see people asking existential and spiritual questions from this. Now, what ChatGPT and systems like it do, they find patterns in language. It has no idea what you're asking it. It has no idea what it is telling you. It's just putting words together based on statistics, and it knows that it is going to be acceptable. That's it. There is no cognition or comprehension of what has been exchanged. So you see people basing their lives and their important decisions on this. Whose fault is that? That is the fault of the human who is dumb enough to do this. Now imagine the system is being trained by the general population. Look at any comment section on any famous and popular broadcaster on YouTube or any other medium. It is a cesspool. Trolls. There's so much racism, sexism, hatred, rudeness, cruelty. Now imagine the system has been trained by this. Now the people who are running this don't care about any of this stuff. They just want to train the machine. But of course, if you're training in a cesspool, you're going to get covered in garbage. And so this is the downside of this. People have to be aware how these machines work and to avoid the downfalls and the dangers of it. Now, assigning this to, let's say, again, something that's really common, that this being is AI controlled, that being is AI controlled. Oh my God, no. It doesn't matter where this AI comes from. The human being who is connected to the beloved source of all things is the most sophisticated machine in the cosmos.
That's right.
Meaning, as long as you have your sovereignty and free will, nothing can control you. There's an exception if you get deceived and then freely hand over power and agree to just blindly follow. Whose fault is that? Once you are connected to the beloved source of all things, you say, no, I am going to worship something lower than that. And you see this reflected in many religious systems too, giving power to that which is not source. And that is a great
it's like
sin.
follower syndrome. But a lot of people do that though, Amir, because they aren't at the point where they're able to truly understand they can think for themselves. So they're afraid and they're uneducated in that fear, and they really don't know where to go. So it's quite common for people in the beginning, especially of their journeys, whether they're spiritual or not, to reach for something outside of themselves. That's how they either learn to disregard or they come out and they find their way, you know what I mean? And it can be a lot of our wars are started by that ideal, right? A lot of our non-unity is coming from that.
Of course.
That is the downfall, you know what I mean?
That is spot on. So out of what I understand from my humble position, I've dedicated my life on this topic towards this. If you seek the light, it will seek you. That is one of the laws of the cosmos, the law of liberty. conveniently omitted or censored from the Hermetic laws. Law of liberty. All you need is your sovereignty and connection to source. All problems you will find an answer. Now, is there anything wrong with using a vehicle to travel longer distances? No. Is there anything wrong with using a mechanical loader to lift heavy stones where your muscles will fail? No. Is there anything wrong with using AI to sift through 1,000,000 books? Again, no. But you don't let these machines run wild. If somebody sitting in a car intentionally hits a bunch of people, whose fault is it? The car, the manufacturer, or the person behind the wheel? And so that has been poisoning the population, that no, you are controlled, certain beings are controlled. That's all nonsense. We have to shed this victim mentality and remember, we create the reality outside ourselves. And so if we are in control and if we are conscious and we don't agree to give away power, nothing can rule us. And so to transmute this poison of fear and disinformation, first and foremost, these devices are not that capable. They go really wrong. So human supervision is always required, even in the most optimized and proficient AI. Say it gives advice to a medical doctor, goes through 100,000 scans, and suggests that these may be indicative of some disease, like cancer. Of course, you have to have a human specialist to pick those up and have a look and say, oh, yes, this is a good call. No, this is completely off. And believe it or not, they're completely off very frequently. Sovereignty is the name of the game.
It is.
And then being aware. So education and emphasizing on our sovereignty is the way to go. So again, finishing up this academic side of my life, while I was doing my master's, PhD, and postdoc, I got bored. So I started to do parallel master's degrees in education. It was so different that it was entertaining. So all in all, I got 7 degrees. Then went into teaching, and at this point, I'm a full-time wizard, which brings us back to the spiritual side, going back to the age of 18 again. That seems to be where everything kind of activated. Discovering that mainstream religion is a methodology of control. Doesn't matter where you are on earth. It's all about land, money, power, and politics. Your connection to the beloved source needs no intermediaries. You need a healthy and open heart and the humility and willingness to connect back home. And so that is the outcome of this. Since the age of 18, and now I'm 43, I studied every single spiritual and magical path that I could get my hands on. Not just studying it, devoting myself to it fully. All the way from the teachings of the Sufi and the Zoroastrian tradition, going into the left-hand path also, which is the other side of existence. I came to a point of balance through a system called the Kuji-In, or the Kuji-Kiri. And that was where I found myself, and I found home, really. That's the Vajrayana method of Tantra, based on repetition of words of power, the mantras. And it's very, very simple and elegant. I see all there is truthfully. Repeat that 10,000 times, and guess what? It works. I use all things available to me correctly. Repeat that 10,000 times, and it'll start working. And so that's a very, very effective method that gets rid of all the distortions and awakens all your gifts. That was the title of today's meeting that we have, Awakening Your Gifts. Anything worthwhile takes energy. Nothing comes from nothing. We need to invest in our magnificent self to wash away distortion, trauma, and illusion. And
For
so
sure.
it seems that this minimum amount of energy is something in the range of 105,000 mantras. Considering that we gain and we accumulate trauma and distortion lifetime after lifetime, washing it all away in 3 or 4 months isn't that bad. We've got on the chat, I was Merlin in a previous lifetime, apparently. So Merlin is a certain caste of people, the Druids that advised the kingship in Western Europe. And so were you one of these wise people? I think it is very likely. So then the story of this character Merlin was turned into legend for the benefit of the young, turned into legend. But the ruling class would take advice from wise druids. That is a known factor. That is a known thing. So yes, indeed, that is highly, highly probable. There we go. I think that resonated. So current practice that I do, my public work is focused on healing. Healing, and then there is one thing that I teach, which is the Kuji-Kiri, because I know it is karma-free. It has its own built-in defense mechanism. If you are not worthy, you will not be able to complete it. And before you are worthy, you will not be assisted to climb. So that is something that is clean. I highly recommend people look into it. But then healing. My soul, and this is not an ego thing. I'm just a little container, honored to contain this energy. I didn't choose. It's all the way the dice fell. The soul is the Vajra-Kilaya, the action of all the Buddhas, the divine wrath that has the ability to cleanse and purify. So meaning all these instances of trauma, of karma, of distortion and illusion, I see them overlaid in the energy structure of the esteemed client, and I have the authority and the ability to remove it in a compassionate and respectful way. And so I call this the energy car wash. So you bring back the person to a perfect...
Can I pinpoint on just something you just said, the way you just said that? You walk a neutral path, correct?
Absolutely.
By having
not neutral.
By having an understanding of both sides.
Correct.
Is that what
Neutrality. See that there's a subtlety here. Not neutral, balanced.
Balanced, yeah.
Neutrality may also suggest passivity, meaning two people are going at it, one is doing wrong, and you say, oh, none of my business. Absolutely not. If there is a setting of a healing session and there is a collective, for example, the frickin' pirates, all the alien species that interact with humanity in a negative way, Anunnaki, Draco, insectoids, greys, reptilians, all of that. If they are harming a person, oh yeah, you better believe I'm not neutral. I'm wiping them out. But the outcome is balance. Balance means we have a pole of source. There is another pole, which is the void. And then between source and void, we have all creation. Where I exist is right in the middle. Neither pole pulls me. And this is the path of the most rapid evolution.
Yeah, for sure.
And so in this state of balance, which may also be called a neutral, if it, just looking at it in terms of positive and negative, you're in the middle. This is where you have the least resistance to divine light, and you evolve most rapidly. So the energy car wash, people feel it as I'm describing. Oh yes, this is an ancient injury, for example, in the throat, and you were burnt alive as a witch or a wizard, and this has left some injury, leading you to be hesitant to speak out. Oh, let's get rid of this. So I go in, I pull it out, and I burn it. And so people feel it as I'm working on them, and the outcome is a state of bliss. Bliss, lightness.
Yeah.
And this doesn't mean it is permanent. I call it a car wash intentionally, because if you go swimming in the mud once again, oh, guess what? You're going to get covered in stuff. So
That's right.
again, I'm very grateful for my station in life. If they would divide the wealth of the planet equally among everyone, I wouldn't have more or less. I seem to be in a place where I can live with dignity. Thank
True.
goodness. About the let's say size of the life of a school teacher, an academic or school teacher. This is what I've made money from all my life. So I'm not overly wealthy, and I'm not overly poor.
Yeah.
And I have the honor of working now in the capacity of an energetic healer. I would like to continue this.
Yeah, exactly. So you were frozen there for a second on my end. I don't know about everyone else, so I apologize for that, but it could be my end maybe, but as I said,
It
been having
could be
Wi-Fi
mine
issues
too,
here.
so
So
hopefully it won't
yeah,
happen
that's
again.
right. That's all good. So would you like to elaborate a little bit on how you see both sides of the path a little? Because there is a little bit of disjointed belief system and non-unity kind of idea on how people see all this. They seem to work very much against the idea of it's either left or right path. Can you elaborate and maybe help some people with that? Because some people have a great
Absolutely.
fear of one
Yeah.
side, and then they can also have a great fear of the other side. So they're always reaching for some sort of perfection that can unbalance them a little bit and make them, as I
Beautiful.
always say, unconditional
Beautiful.
love doesn't mean being not setting boundaries and being sure of self,
Correct.
as you were
Correct.
saying. So can you elaborate on that? Because a lot of people are
Absolutely.
struggling with some of that in the community, I'm
Absolutely.
noticing.
So first of all, we talked about polarity. It seems to be one of the laws of this universe.
Yep.
Many other universes will use this too. So we have source and we have void. This is really beautifully reflected in the I Ching, which is a system of divination from ancient China. And these guys, they were on point, very elegant understanding. So then, with the mixture of light and void, not light, let's say source and void, the yin and the yang, the passive and the active principle. In the combination of this passive and active, we have elements, elemental forces. There are 8 coming from dimension 12, coming down to the lower dimensions, dimension 5 and 4, the astral, they come down to 5, 3 are dropped. And then from elemental substances, we have atoms, molecules, and energy, physicality. But the essence is polarity, source and void, or active and passive principles. Now, in existence, we have octaves of reality or intervals of reality within which life can exist. You may call them dimensions. So, physicality, earth dimension, is one of these. In a certain range of vibration or frequency, life can exist. The same can be applied to the visual spectrum, where a certain range of light can be perceived by our eyes. Now, there are many of these intervals or octaves of reality containing life or within which the possibility of life exists. Now, just because one is born in the 12th dimension doesn't make them any better or worse than a being in physicality. They're just different domains. It doesn't indicate that you are good or evil. That is an individual thing. So looking at an entire race of beings and casting them as good or evil, that is racism. It is stupid. It is short-sighted. Many people do this to members of our own species. Believe it or not, this still goes on today. Just because you come from a certain part of the world, or you follow a certain faith, or that you have a certain color of skin, there may be a group that think that they are better than you. No. And so therefore, evaluating a being, and I'm not using the word judgment because that is a pitfall to destruction. You have to evaluate every single being on a personal basis and look at the fruits of their labor. What is it that they do and what comes from it? And
Yep.
so therefore
Okay.
we have angelic beings born into high station that fall because of
Yeah.
degenerative acts and violation.
Yep.
Believe it or not, we have those so-called demons that sing the praise of the beloved source and evolve. This
That's
happens
right.
frequently. Nobody is
Yeah.
locked. So you are in
No.
a high place, you mess up, you fall.
Yep.
You are born into the darkness, you do the right thing, you clean yourself and sing the praise of the beloved source, you rise. Case in
That's
point.
right. Yep.
So,
Exactly.
looking at these beings, first of all, demons are not one thing. Many assign this terminology to fire elementals. That is very hateful. Elemental
Okay.
beings are beautiful. They are not all
I've not
evil.
ever heard that, so that's a bit of a
Yeah.
surprise. Yeah. Yeah.
So, a
Okay.
demon is a distorted consciousness. A human
Mm-hmm.
being who becomes extremely distorted turns into a demon.
Correct. Yeah.
Example, somebody who watches the massacre of their entire village and their entire family gets overwhelmed with hatred and rage. And as they
Yeah.
leave the body, that's a brand new demon for you.
Yeah.
And that hatred and rage is caused such an extreme distortion that that is all they can do. They become the darkness, you
They do.
see.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if there is an elemental, let's say a earth elemental, is that being good or evil? I don't know. You have to look
No,
at
that's
it,
right.
interact with it. If there's an angel, is that angel good or evil? I don't know.
Correct.
You
Yeah.
have to
Don't take it for
interact with it.
granted.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's one thing. That good and evil thing, first of all, nothing is completely zero or one.
Yeah.
And if you treat a being with dignity and respect, it is very likely that they will treat you in the same way.
Yeah.
So it's a complicated scenery out there. This applies also to non-human consciousness, not just elementals that are the original residents of Earth, but many aliens that interact with humanity. Is a Draco reptilian good or evil? I don't know. Just because it is Draco doesn't mean it is under control, doesn't mean that it is evil.
Mm.
Many of them have switched sides in
They have.
service to the beloved source and the highest good of all. Did you know that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah.
So just because it's Draco doesn't mean it's evil. Or just
No.
because it is angel doesn't mean it is good. Lots of angels are
That's right.
absolute assholes. And again, sorry
Yeah.
for saying it in this way. And
Controlling. No, they're control. Some of them are, I won't mention anything on here because I don't want to upset anybody, but there's a lot that I've been aware of that yeah, they're not
Lucifer,
with us. They're very controlling,
yeah,
extremely controlling.
Lucifer,
Yeah.
Lucifer, Metatron, right? These guys aren't all completely shiny. They've done some really stupid, nasty stuff. And is
Yeah,
that
they've
the end
affected
for
some
them?
of the gates as well. Yeah.
Okay.
They've done a lot of
So
nasty
again,
things up there.
does
Yeah.
it mean that they are doomed? No.
No, not at all. No.
Again, the law of liberation or law of liberty, if they reach back to source and they forgive themselves and ask for forgiveness and undo
Yep.
the imbalance they have caused, the light will
Yep.
accept them. That is the nature of the light. So again,
Exactly.
is there a reason to be afraid? Well, you are an eternal and immortal and timeless, multi-dimensional, multi-universal soul. Nobody
That's
can
right.
touch you.
No, nobody
And
can
so
touch
if
you.
you shed from your consciousness that which makes you small, fear goes away.
That's right. That's right. So I tell everyone that comes and sees me, whether they come with a dramatic ideal of what's going on, the first thing I say to them is that you are an untouchable soul having an
Bingo.
experience, and it's your
Bingo.
choice on how you wish to do that and what you believe and what you bring into your inner center of belief.
This
That's the
whole
first
Earth
thing I make very
experiment,
clear.
my wonderful friend, this is the ultimate cosmic game of dumbass.
I
We
love
come
it.
down here, we
I
all
love it like that.
collectively agree to play the game of dumbass. We
Yeah,
cover our eyes, block our ears,
yeah,
tie our hands behind our back, tie our
yeah.
feet, and roll around like idiots in the mud because
Seems
it's an
pointless,
experience.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It is
And
just an
so
experience.
and,
Yeah,
and so imagine if you're down there rolling in the mud like an idiot, an alien species is going to come and look at what's in your pocket. Oh my God, look at these amazing soul codes. And this idiot
yeah.
isn't using them. I'm going to have
That's
some of
exactly
that.
right.
There we go.
Exactly.
And all that is
Exactly.
required is that you realize You're doing this. You chose to do this.
You
Why?
chose.
Well, playing in the mud is fun, probably, for a certain limited amount of
For
time.
a short amount of time, yeah, until you get
But that's the
tired
key.
of it. Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
but people forget that the nature of the game is so comprehensive. They believe that's all they are. The little mud idiots. That's not who humanity is. Oh my goodness, no.
No.
And so these discussions that we have here and now, they're good. First of all, you're out on a game of paintball with your buddies. It's so good.
Yeah.
You get covered in muck and you get bruised and you get hurt, but it's so glorious. And then you go home, take a warm bath and wash all the dust and mud and paint off, and the bruise heals in 2 weeks, and you remember it fondly. Right? That paintball adventure was so good. And oh, you shot me in the genitals and that was really painful. But
sorry, I didn't mean to do that. No.
Right? Or I did mean to do it, right?
I did mean to do it, yeah.
That's the nature of this earth experience.
It is the nature of it.
Yeah. And so it's meant to be glorious, it's meant to be entertaining, and the difficulty is meant to give us the opportunity to evaluate ourselves. Do we have any built-in weaknesses? And so if you don't remember who you are and you don't have access to your gifts and you're exposed to trauma, you demonstrate you still have the ability to heal your heart and you have the ability to forgive and heal others. Okay, that's a thumbs up. You are strong.
That's right. It's a start, for sure. Yeah.
Now, in this whole thing, is there any need for fear? No.
No.
If anything, there's so much glory and excitement. And the truth of the matter is that many, many, many beings are standing in line, holding their tickets, waiting for a chance to be human for one incarnation, and they don't get a turn. So being down here in a human body
I've
means
told them
that
they can have mine. I've said I only just said recently, my ticket's available. You can have it. I'm done. I've had enough. I've been here long enough. But,
we are honored to have you here with us, dear one. So stick around for the after party.
No, I've got work to do.
The dark ages are over. We're going through a transition period. The next 3 centuries, we're going to see the beginning of the new golden age. Stick around for a bit. You've done the hard work.
I know. I've done the hard work. Miles be for the after cakes and a bit of cheesecake and all that jazz. So
you said cheesecake. You shouldn't do that. I lose my mind.
I had to put at least once. No, I had to put in once. So the only thing that the reason I raise that subject is that I see a lot of the fear-based things that are running through our community, which are really unraveling a lot of people unnecessarily. It's almost like I'm seeing them putting them back into the old ages, if you want to call it, where they no longer actually can get past the fear itself because they believe that's all there is. And I don't know if it's been done just for the fact of harvesting energy or it's just the fact that it gives an egoic rush to some people. I'm not sure without going into, down too much of a rabbit hole, but it seems to be very big at the moment, to be honest.
Well, that is true. So let me give my 2 cents.
Go for it.
First and foremost, the infrastructure. I'm talking about the physical and energetic technology that was used towards harvesting, the infiltration of the reincarnation mechanism, energetically anchoring the vibration of the collective and the planet, all this kind of stuff that would be the, let's say, the infrastructure of slavery and control. These have been removed. The infrastructure was exploded, was destroyed, wiped out of existence, along with all the beings that were maintaining it. There was a massive purge that went out through this universe and the multiverse, governed by the beloved source of all things, because the time is up. These are given a certain, let's say, period or cycle of time to do their thing so that the outcome can be observed. Time is up. The infrastructure is gone. So a lot of the beings and energies that were the puppet masters do not exist anymore. That leaves the human component. Cut from their masters, they see probably a vacancy in positions of power, which cannot be refilled. So we have lots of these awful cult leaders perpetuating fear because that's all they have left. perpetuating hatred and division, because that is all they have left. And again, as they leave their body, they will be audited by Source. Many of them will never be allowed to reincarnate here or anywhere. They are a disease. And so this Earth experiment has hosted many, many diseases for the purpose of strengthening humanity while we play this game of dumbass in the mud. But they're not going to be released back into the wild to plague innocent life. That would be foolish. Source will not do this kind of thing. So this time they die. It is their last and final death. And so this perpetuation of fear is an act of desperation. It is that last bit of poison and heaviness in the collective that is bubbling up to the surface to be purged one final time. This is a good thing. Let them do their thing. They are going to be gone as they have acted in the shadows. Once they are gone, no one will know. It would be as if they never existed.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, just there seems to be a lot of people living in that space. That's all.
They got to learn.
They
got to learn to have discernment.
They do.
Listen, if you fall for every street trick, how many times can you blame the con artist? Eventually, you got to take responsibility.
Yeah, you do.
One of the laws is not to be a dumbass. Really, that's what we're coming here. Don't be simple. Don't be a dumbass. One of the other laws is don't be an asshole.
Yeah,
I say this in this colorful, these are parts of the human operating manual. Don't be stupid. Again, don't be a tyrant. Be sovereign and take responsibility. These people got to learn.
Yeah, don't give yourself away so
Outcome of
easily.
this whole process of hundreds, thousands of lifetimes. At this stage, if they're still falling for this nonsense, whose fault is that? They've been given thousands of opportunities, countless opportunities to learn. You got to learn failure is not going to be rewarded. And so many souls that came, many a soul that would have come into the Earth experiment fail miserably. What did they get out of it? Nothing.
Nothing.
If they have caused imbalance, they have to rectify it, and they may leave in a diminished capacity. Like a casino, you came in, lost all your money, you got into a fight with the bouncer, guess where you're going? Okay.
That's right.
So there is justice at the end of it.
Yeah. Is it self-deemed justice as well? Like
absolutely. Absolutely. There's no being there that's going to whip you and beat you. Oh no, you effed up. No. It's your own self, because you came in with honest intentions to evaluate yourself. And then the outcome is, oh, I still need work in this area, this area, this area. You go to another domain and you work on yourself. You fix. And so at least that knowledge of where you may benefit from fortification and growth, that is still valuable. So it's not a total loss. And then we have those that get really good at breaking out of the jail. They have free reign. They come and go as they please, and the system knows that it can't mess with them. They can choose to be ascended masters and spirit guides, and sometimes that gets frustrating because you speak words of grace and healing and wisdom into the human's ear and wash their energy. And then they go back to their old stuff, and that becomes frustrating. And at a certain point, you say, you know what? God damn it, I'm going in a human body. Maybe I can do better in that kind of state. So we have made this kind of a big mishmash of different levels of ability. So at this point, those who have ascended, those that were meant to ascend and graduate and evolve, they've done it. And then giving it another million years won't make a difference. There are certain souls that they're not going to graduate. And so they will be given the wisdom of this experience. As the matrix comes to a close in the next, let's say, 100 or 150 years, the game is over. They'll be given opportunity elsewhere to continue evolving.
Yeah, true. It's all a personal choice, really, in the end. This is I keep saying to people, don't forget it's your own personal choice. You are in control of all of it, absolutely
Bingo.
all of it. This side and the other side, it's all yours.
Absolutely.
It's all up to you. Yeah, That's why
You're
you were
you're
created.
yeah,
Mm,
you are free. You are
that's
free.
right.
You are in control, and you
You
can
are.
choose if you don't like the Earth School or you fail in Earth School because it was really, really tough. That's okay.
Yep. It is
Probably
okay. Yeah.
skipped 2 or 3 grades that you shouldn't have. Go back,
Yep.
do that, and then you can find an equivalent to Earth or Earth if they're still running this program, and try your
Yep.
luck one more time. This happens
That's
often
right.
also.
Yeah, it does. I said again, it's a choice. There is no punishment or judgment. This is the thing, or this ideal in our movement of there's always something behind it as a punishment. It really gives me the shits, I gotta say. I'm a bit
Yeah,
tired of hearing it. I really
this
am, because it's detrimental
nonsense.
to that poor soul that's trying their best, doing their best.
See
You know what
that
I mean?
fear.
So yeah,
Let's sum this whole thing up. Fear is an anchor. Hatred is an anchor. Anything
yeah,
that is lower than the energy of love, these
hmm,
are holding you down, preventing you
yeah,
from giving energy to your upper faculties and
yeah,
vibrating at higher frequencies so you can understand the gentle whispers of your soul, intuition,
yeah.
or to
Correct.
access the wisdom of the jade gate from all shards of your infinite soul, or for that matter, to go up the branches of the soul star and connect to source.
Yeah,
If you're in heaviness, you won't be able to realize these more elated and elevated parts of your being. So people that are
no.
shedding, that are spreading hatred, fear,
Hmm. Yeah.
the let's say the threat of punishment and burning in hell forever and ever, they are
Yeah,
doing everyone a disservice. It is absolutely
they are.
false.
It's cruel, actually, and you
Cruelty.
won't ascend unless you follow this and or do that only this way. That one irks me a little bit too, because everyone has again the free will to choose to do it how they wish. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
So we
it's
wish for everyone discernment
yeah,
and the
absolute.
ability to know what is loving and what is not, what is truthful and what is not. We can't force
Yeah,
people into evolution either.
no, you
It's
cannot.
like a tumble dryer. You
Yeah,
keep tumbling until you're dry, and you can't force the
correct.
process. And
No,
if
you
the
cannot.
matrix comes to a close and a certain number are not ready, the beloved source of all things will give them an opportunity elsewhere to continue their work,
That's
because
right.
Earth will no longer be presenting that kind of harsh and heavy
No.
lesson. There'll be other
Yeah.
domains where the matrix will be established. And again, the
Hmm.
purpose of the matrix is guaranteed unnatural evolution, a very
Yeah.
tough regiment or regime, like commando school, where
Yeah.
special forces are trained. These guys aren't lying in the sun drinking mojitos all day. They're
No, for
pushing their
sure.
body and their mind past the breaking point. And that
Yep.
is how toughness, that is how diamonds are made. Again, the word Vajra.
Correct. Correct.
So it was too tough. Not everybody becomes a commando, so be it. Doesn't mean they don't get something valuable out of it. But
No,
Earth
that's
has
right.
done her part. Goodness
Yeah.
bless her. Poor thing has
Yeah.
been through a lot of trauma. It's her time to graduate also.
Yeah. Yeah. Carried a lot of just our own thoughts is enough, let alone everything else that it's absorbed. So, well, we're nearly pretty much at our hour. I don't want to have you here all night because you could go on for hours. I always ask everyone at the end of it, is there anything they'd like to offer everybody? So whether that's a clearing, a healing, a message, whatever you feel in your heart that you'd like to share.
Absolutely.
It's a great way of
Absolutely.
closing, and it's a great way to give an offering. That's how I see it. So it's up to you what
Okay.
you'd like to do.
Offering of energetic cheesecake to everybody because
Yes.
the best thing ever. And also a message. Um, Beloved soul, you are an aspect of the source of all sources. You are a
Yeah.
drop from the mighty ocean, and yet you are the mighty ocean in one drop. Shed from your consciousness all that makes you small. Nothing is missing. All your greatness, all your wisdom and abilities are here and now. And it is your duty to uncover them and remove layers of distortion, trauma, and incorrect beliefs that prevent you from seeing it and utilizing it. You have no need for any guru or any method or any lost information. That is all nonsense. All you need is within you. Turn your gaze inwards and with honesty, love, and humility, reach for the beloved source, and source will reach back. That is the law. That is the nature of that love that lies at the foundation of all creation.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for your in-depth self
Absolute
and for
honor.
being so honest and real. It's truly an honor to have you here, and it's probably been one of the most incredible things between, I'll speak for Elaine because she's here, her and I have ever meeting you. It's been amazing. It's been beautiful, I must say.
The honor is mine.
So before I finish, just for those that will watch the replay and everything else, if anybody here would like to share their spiritual journey, if it's unusual and deep, I'm very interested. And anyone who's also had any contact with, I call them star people, because I find UFO can be have a little bit of a belief behind it that can sometimes not be very nice. But anything to do with UFO, whether it's visualizations, experiences, even I've had a couple of abductees shared their stories and things like that, because I myself have been down that road. I've had that as well. If you want to have that opportunity to speak your truth, even message me. I do screen everyone, I have to be honest, because I need to know that they're right for the podcast. We do like honesty, truth, and depth, but there is a limit, of course, of how far we're allowed to go with that. I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm just here to allow people to open their hearts and speak the truth in wherever they're at that time of their truth. So if you're interested, Facebook message me, and you're more than welcome. I will have a chat with you in an interview and see what your story is and what you'd like to offer. That's probably the easiest way to get hold of me. And this podcast is open to many different belief systems, many different experiences, and many different types of people. I haven't done any for a while because I've been busy. So I was like, time to get off my butt and get started. So here I am. So feel free to contact me. Like I said, Facebook Messenger is the easiest way to get hold of me. Within 24 hours, 48 hours, I will get back to you, I promise. And we'll see where we go from there.